Haven't you ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Somebody said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How is your Wednesday going? Jump right on into it, shall we? We're going to jump right on into this. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Before I even get started, I want to give a shout out to Queen Throne. Make sure that you got your notification bells on because I know she's going to be live today to further, I know Queen Throne today to talk about this situation with Polight. Polight has pled a plea deal, of course, with the permission of the mother of the victim's mom. Jump right into this on this court hearing with you all. Man, listen, again, listening to the mom talk really did. I was just listening to it before I hit the live button, and oh my goodness. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's get right on into it.
Under case number F21-14438 with the following charges: lewd and lascivious molestation on a child, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Count 2 was lewd and lascivious molestation on a child, 12 to 16 years, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Lewd and lascivious conduct on a child under 16 by a defendant 18 or over, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Count 4, lewd and lascivious exhibition on a child under 16 years, defendant over 18, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. And contributing to the dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. And then count 6 is interference with custody, a third-degree felony, punishable by up to 5 years state prison. The state has now filed an amended information today, charging you with the following: aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. Count 2 is aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. And contributing to the dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. It is my understanding that you wish to plead guilty to this new information. You would be adjudicated guilty, and your sentence has been memorialized in a 4-page plea agreement. Did you have the opportunity to go over this plea agreement with your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. I do need the defendant to initial each page because there are not initials on these pages.
Interesting. So Polight pled, right? He pled. You know why he pled? Because he knew that the evidence against him was too strong.
All right. Let me know when it's done.
And we even hear him in his own voice saying, yes, I agree to this plea. Mm-hmm.
So you heard what he's pleading guilty to. He can't say no foolishness. So he lied to Sarnetta and them. He lied.
Oh, listen, hold up. Shout out
with your lawyer, and I want to go over it with you, not each and every aspect of it, but the major components of the plea agreement. But what I am going to ask is for the states to tell me the general terms of the plea agreement, and then we will go into the details on the contract. Go ahead.
Your Honor, the plea agreement includes an adjudication, 7 years of state prison, followed by 10 years of reporting probation. As a condition of probation, the defendant will...
What did you say, 10 years? Probation.
10 years reporting probation.
Okay.
The defendant will complete the MDSO program. The defendant will not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with children. The defendant will have specific terms regarding where he may work and the ability to wear a uniform. There are additional terms of restitution, of which $5,000 has been agreed to be paid upfront within 24 hours, and additional restitution to be paid out on a monthly basis once he is out of custody. And that monthly amount is highlighted in the written terms of the plea agreement. Additionally, there will be a stay-away order from victim TS and her mother, which is also mentioned in the plea agreement.
What is the total amount of the restitution?
The total amount of restitution is $25,000.
Okay. All right.
The defendant's counsel going to be providing probation with the proof of the $5,000 being paid?
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. All right. Okay, so Mr. Nowak, the terms of the plea agreement are as what the prosecutor just stated, that you are going to be entering a plea of guilty to the 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and 1 count of deliberate contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You will be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. Do you also understand, sir, that by entering into this plea that it may subject you to involuntary civil commitment proceedings set forth in Florida statutes 394.910 through 394.931. Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to also advise you, sir, that you are going to be sentenced to 7 years in state prison to be followed by 10 years of reporting probation. In addition to any of these special conditions of probation, you will also participate in and successfully complete a mentally disordered sex offender treatment program, that you are also not eligible. Okay, you may, according to the state, you may be eligible for early termination if all of the conditions of your probation have been completed, that you have had no violations of your probation, and that you have not been arrested for any other criminal offense. Is that correct, Steve?
And to clarify, the terms stated in 5 is there's no prohibition on early termination. However, there is a requirement that any modification to this agreement be agreed by the state and the court.
Okay. All right, sir. Now, with respect to this plea agreement, I have on each page next to defendant's initials MN. Did you in fact affix those initials to each page?
I did.
And have you reviewed each and every component of this plea agreement going through page 1 and through page 4?
I have.
Now it says on page 4, having read the above mentioned terms of this plea agreement and having been advised by my counsel, David Terrace, I, Michael Noak, freely and voluntarily enter into this plea agreement and agree to abide by all terms and conditions of this plea agreement, and agree that failure to comply with any terms or conditions within this agreement constitutes a violation of probation and subjects me to be sentenced to the statutory maximum penalties provided by law for the crimes for which I am now pleading guilty. And then it has a signature over the name Michael Noak. Is that in fact your signature, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I am now going to place my signature on this plea agreement, in that I am now going to be ratifying this plea agreement as negotiated between the state of Florida and your attorney. Has anybody, including your lawyer, told you anything differently than what I've just told you?
No.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication affecting your ability to understand me?
No.
Is anybody forcing, threatening, or coercing you to enter into this plea?
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, the entry of this plea will have negative immigration consequences, including deportation and removal?
Understand.
You had the right, sir, to have gone to a jury trial where your lawyer had the ability to compel the attendance of witnesses on your behalf, the ability to confront and cross-examine the witnesses and evidence against you. You had the right to testify just like any other witness or remain silent, and your silence could not have been used against you if you went to a jury trial. You also had the right to appeal any mistakes that I would have made during the course of the trial, and the right to hold the state of Florida to the burden of proving these charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand, sir, that by entering into this plea, that you are giving up all of these rights and we will not have a jury trial?
I do.
Have you discussed this plea with your lawyer?
Yes.
Has he answered all of your questions?
Absolutely.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's services and advice?
Definitely.
Did the state provide all the discovery in your possession to the defense?
Yes.
Did the defense review all of the discovery in your possession with your client?
Yes, Your
And do both sides know of any physical evidence containing DNA that would exonerate the defendant?
No.
Honor. There you are.
And do both sides stipulate to a factual basis for this plea?
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
And the court has reviewed the arrest affidavit, makes a finding that there is a factual basis for the plea. Mr. Noak, are there any witnesses or is there any evidence that you wanted your lawyer to investigate or me to receive before entering into this plea?
No.
All right. The court finds that the defendant understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Counsel, do you waive PSI?
Yes, Your Honor. Waive PSI.
Now, Mr. Noack, you do understand, as I mentioned to you before, that the state, as they had articulated earlier, you may be eligible for early termination as long as certain conditions are met. That means no violations. You've done everything that you were supposed to do. You've not been arrested for any criminal offense, and the state is in agreement with it as well as the court's ratification. On the other hand, sir, if you violate any terms and conditions of this probation, and that includes getting arrested for any other criminal offense, then you could be subject to the maximum period of time in prison, which by my calculations is 61 years state prison. You do understand that?
Yeah.
And knowing all of this, do you still wish to enter into this plea?
Yes.
All right. The court finds the defendant, as I mentioned before, understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Is there anything further as it relates to Mr. Noak? I do have on the Zoom that the victim's mother wanted to address the court.
Correct. And Your Honor, nothing more from the state except to let Your Honor know if you can unmute the victim's mother, and she will be listed as victim Noak in the Zoom, and she is requesting, pursuant to Marcy's law, that her identity remain anonymous. So for that reason, she will not be stating her name, but she will be making a statement regarding these.
Where would it be?
It should say victim and then in parentheses Noak, sorry. You see it when it says victim Noak?
Okay, yes, 1 second. All right, you may unmute, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, so what I'd like you to do is, well, you don't want to give your name. So at this point, just go ahead and you can give us an impact statement. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Michael Nowak. This is the first time I have spoken publicly about what you've done to my daughter and I. I have gracefully remained silent the last 2.5 years. 2.5 years of pain, shock, disbelief, PTSD, constant nightmares, and daily triggers. Trying to help my daughter heal when I'm not even healed myself. What you have done to my daughter, myself, and my entire family is inexcusable. You hurt us all. You made me believe that you were such a great man and you could do no wrong. You made me fully trust you, and for that, my daughter trusted you too. But the truth is, you're a monster, a demon. The very first time that I allowed you to be alone with my daughter, the very first time, and you couldn't even help yourself. You told me you was gonna be right back. You were going downstairs. You were gonna grab food and take vacation pictures. You told me that you wanted to have a one-on-one talk with her about loving and respecting me as a great mother that I was and am. And I actually believed you. I believed that you were gonna bring her right back. I thought you were gonna have this trusting conversation with her that you promised me. Her and I both trusted you. For a grown man to violate a child who trusted him, you should be ashamed of yourself. You plotted on me and my little girl. The entire time you knew what you planned to do. Isolate, intoxicate, then violate my baby. Shame on you. I trusted you to bring her right back. You were supposed to bring her back the same way that you took her. Instead, you drugged her and took advantage of her. You sexually abused her. You forced alcohol down her throat. You then forced her to see things that no child should ever have to see. You forced her to feel things that no child should have to feel. You forced her to accept violence that no child should ever have to endure. You forced drugs in her that no human should ever even ingest. She's my child. My baby. How could you? How could you? You could have killed her with all the drugs that were found in her system.
Damn.
And you thought your master plan was mapped out perfectly, huh? You thought I'd be dumb enough to believe you over my child. And you thought that money would blind me. You thought I was gonna be so blinded that I wouldn't notice when you returned her with bruises all over her body and her mouth busted, uncontrollably shaking. Absolutely not. And although you executed your plan and you got what you wanted those couple of hours, you actually failed. Because look where you're at right now. You have created a lifetime of trauma for my daughter and I. Before you, we never knew evil existed. You brought so much evil into our lives that early morning, and I'll never forget. I called you like 50 times and you wouldn't answer me. And I called her too, but you took her phone. You drugged my baby and you gave her no way to seek help. You left me no way to contact her or even know where she was. I get physically sick now whenever I'm away from my daughter because of you. Something as simple as her going to school, I'm in panic mode. Because I'm scared when she comes back, she's gonna be hurt all over again. I constantly have flashbacks of that night. And what she lives with is not okay. She feels uncomfortable around people and will live with this forever, and this is not fair to her. She never deserved this. Shame on you for forcing evil on our youth. And you know, for a year, I questioned, how could you even do this to us? Her and I did nothing wrong to you. We trusted you. I moved across the country because I believed everything that you told me. But it was pure manipulation I see now. All you do is specialize in selling false dreams. How could you do this to an innocent child and mother who simply trusted you? We did nothing wrong. But you know what? I'm done breaking my head trying to question or figure out how you could do such a thing. It's so simple to me now. You're just a sick man. A man who you can have a plethora of women, but you secretly prefer to have a child. And it's so clear now. I will never be able to fully trust another person due to the betrayal that you've shown me. And for that, I was not willing to trust 6 strangers and go to trial. Nor was I going to put my daughter through an additional trauma. This plea was in our best interest. You and I both know the evidence is extremely substantial. But even with that, I refuse to have my child be tormented when she's done nothing wrong. All she holds is the truth. And I will say this, although you were so worried about being labeled a sex offender, you did us a huge favor by admitting to guilt, period. So for that, I thank you. I truly thank you. Yes, mitigation took place and I allowed it as long as it meant you going to prison and you getting true help. Because true help means no more victims. The fact that your only non-negotiable was to accept a sex crime shows exactly the type of man that you are. You know what you did in that hotel room. I know what you did, and my daughter knows what you did. DNA doesn't lie. There's no reason why your DNA should have been found on my baby. And yes, I satisfied your bogus request to not be labeled a sex offender, but it doesn't take away from who you truly are. I wasn't gonna waste any time going back and forth with you over a label. God will judge you for exactly the person he knows you to be, a sexual predator. So rest assured, jail time equals jail time. And I pray that during your 10 years of sex offender probation, you actually receive the treatment that you need and it helps heal your sick mind and get the thoughts of being with children out of it. All you care about is your pretend image. But I know exactly who you are now. You want to be this public figure, but you want to do all your evil acts in secret. You're so self-centered. That's why the last time I saw you on February 27, 2021, you fought me. You tried to hold me hostage from taking my daughter to the hospital. I'll never forget that cowardly look in your eyes. I'll never forget it. You were so scared. You were so scared because you realized you messed with the wrong one. Your last words to me, you held me and said, please don't go. You're gonna ruin my career. Well, today, September 6th, 2023, my last words to you are, I hope the next 17 years of your life, you're reminded of the disgusting, terrifying, unforgettable act that you've done to my innocent daughter. Shame on you. And although you've caused a tremendous amount of trauma for myself and my daughter, we will and will always be superior of you because a successful, honest career is something that you can never, ever have. We will both continue to stand against violence. My daughter will continue to persevere and be bright and intelligent and courageous young woman that she is. So Michael Nowak, I hope you enjoy prison and God bless you.
I had to pause for a minute. Jesus. Can we just take a moment here and honor this mother for a moment? Not once did she bend to Michael Nowak's will. Not once. Not once. That woman has stuck. She stuck to it ever since it happened. So Mr. Brother Polight here will be, he's already in jail. He's going to go do his 7 years in prison. He then has 10 years of probation following that, which is probably going to be pretty difficult for him to do, I would think. They say probation's harder to do than parole. That's what they say. Just going back to the mother, not once has she ever compromised when it came to this. Shout out to her. I know that today could not have been an easy day for her. This plea agreement, hey, King Curl, this plea agreement was the mother, the victim, the mother and the victim aware of this plea agreement, and she agreed to certain things. I will leave it to her to answer as to why the one thing, here's the one thing. He will not be a convicted sex offender. Now, there may be some details behind that that some of us are not privy to, but she did agree to that. I don't think, Polite was really in a position that, that was a request, in my opinion, at the end of the day. What was he going to do? Go to trial? Again, the evidence is so substantial here. Remember Monica, the dress and the DNA, very similar here. All right. Polite had no business taking that young girl to no damn hotel room. No business at all. Acted, like a straight predator that night. And so one must wonder, is there any other victims?
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your courage for speaking. It is heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to you and your daughter. All right. The defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
CPS.
He's given credit for any.
I'll be honest.
We can do CTS on the misdemeanor.
I'll be honest. I probably would not have honored that request. But again, we just don't know what other details go under that. I don't know. I personally would not have honored it. That probably would have been the one thing I would have wanted more than anything, was him to be a registered sex offender. It makes life very difficult for them. Registered sex offenders. I'm speaking when I talk about them. Yeah, it makes life difficult. Addresses are plastered all over the place. All sorts of stuff goes on in those types of scenarios. But at the end of the day, that statement just breaks my heart to hear it. It really, really does.
He's giving credit
Think
time,
about this
whatever
little
he's
girl.
gotten in. Yes. All right. Thank you.
And that's the thing. That's the other thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I almost want to drop the link, and I usually don't ever drop the links. But that's the other thing too, right? Can Polite now be sued? Can he be found civil in regards to a civil lawsuit? Could he potentially face civil litigation at this point? And I think you have a valid point, Miss B. Does that leave a door open? Is any doors being left open here, or is justice served? Hey, TMK. He wanted that because he understands that no one can call him a pedophile. But we can. And that was the first thing that hit my mind, Freedom's March, when I heard that aspect of it, right? That he won't be a registered sex offender. Just because he's a registered sex offender, that does not take away from the fact that Michael Nowak is a convicted rapist as of today. This is a deferred adjudication. He didn't plead guilty, but he didn't plead not guilty either. He went in between. He pled. This is a plea bargain. Michael Nowak is facing decades in prison. You heard the judge, 61 years with all the counts. Okay. Now, if he doesn't successfully complete his requirements, he could be later faced to this prison time. So, but I think that you lay out a very valid point. Michael Nowak may think that nobody can refer to him as a rapist and a pedophile and a predator. But truth be told, what's he going to do? Is he going to sue me? Oh, sue me. Do you know what that would mean for him, though, from a civil's perspective? He's going to have to be deposed. He's going to have to speak to some things meaning he's going to have to open up his life. And here's the problem with civil litigation. You can go a lot further than you can in a criminal case. A lot of evidence that may be thrown out in a criminal case, not necessarily in a civil case. It's a whole nother process. So it's just strange to me to be, convicted of a sexual offense, but yet not get the sex offender label with it. So I'm looking forward to other people's commentary on the matter, because maybe a lawyer out here, I don't know, maybe there's a lawyer out here that can speak to the granularity of that, right? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately, I don't see how Polight would have had a choice at the end of the day. The evidence against him was very damning, very, very damning. So I don't know why. I would have not appeased him with that request. Let's finish listening.
Wow.
Alvin?
Anything else?
Huh?
Okay.
I got 1,000 people.
All right. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the meat of it, right? That's pretty much the meat of it. I'm curious if there's any other victims. Someone who, was this Polight's first time doing this, essentially? I don't believe so. But that's my personal belief. See, that's the other scary thing. The longer that this case hangs out there, the longer that it hangs around, the more likely someone is to come forward with additional accusations. And depending on how long ago incidents may have happened, may, render whether or not he would be charged with a crime. It's all about statute of limitations, that sort of a thing. But the comfortability that he was so comfortable to take that young girl, that young lady, to that hotel room to do what he did. I don't get it. I don't get it. And doesn't that King Curl sort of make it even creepier? The fact that he had such a very strange fascination, has a strange fascination with Dr. York. Oh, claiming that he had met the man or talked to the man at one point, come to find out he never knew the man. Getting all good trying to get all in good with his son. Just weird stuff. Just really, really weird. Went on this crusade. Shout out to Queen's Throne. Shout out to Queen's Throne. She's been covering this. A lot of my information and knowledge comes from watching her videos on this, and just seeing all these various different live streams Polight's done over the years. I thought that Queen's, revisit and running, a lot of different content. It helped me to become a lot more knowledgeable in certain things when it comes to Polight and everything Polight. What will the supporters say now? What are the reporters or these supporters of Brother Polight going to say now? More than anything, this is not a situation in which he was found guilty. He pled. He is acknowledging there is more than enough evidence to put him away for decades, the rest of his life. He's acknowledging that with his plea. An innocent man would not be pleading down. And you have to wonder, if one wants to stay publicly close to Polight. I mean, at some point, this man raped that young lady. He plied her with substances to intoxicate her. He did that shit. And today he pled to it. He acknowledged there's more than enough evidence to put him in prison. He pled to 7 years in prison. Hello. Who pleads 7 years? Polight has resources. Polight has tons of resources that he could utilize if he wanted. It would have just been a spectacle to take something like this to trial. Just would have became a spectacle, in my opinion. But who pleads down to child abuse? Sexually assaulting a child? Content creators out here, you better be careful what you do, what you share, all that type of stuff. Got to be careful at the end of the day. Who knows? Yeah, Nicole. Shout out to Nicole Reloaded. Listen, shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Gloria. Shout out to Third Eye, my moderators, T Breeze, Princess X. Shout out to Miss B. Everybody, Bronze. Who else is up in here? Foxy Brown, Khalil Amani's World. Shout out to Khalil Amani. Who else do we got up in here? King Curl, Freedom's March, TMK Media, Crimes and Investigations. Of course, we have our LeakYou Facebook channel and our LeakYou Twitch channel. I see you all plugged in. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. If I did, it wasn't intentional. What's up with it, John AK? Much love, Nicole Reloaded. I hope your legs are working okay today. I hope you got your sea legs about you. Because we all need a leg. We all need legs. York is a sicko, and we deal with some of his clown followers daily on Clubhouse. Appreciate that, King Carl. Let's see here. People had not been sending him money to pay for his lawyer. He probably would have got more than 7 years. Speak on it. Polight has plenty of resources. That's no issue. So what is he doing pleading down? If there's not some truth to it. Ask yourselves, why is his semen on that girl's clothing? Why was his DNA on that girl in any form or fashion? And then just imagine yourselves, just one moment, building up a rapport or a relationship with someone who's only getting close to you because they're eyeing your little child. A lot of you content creators really should put yourselves in that position. You think that if you got all friendly with Polight and introduced him to your family, you don't think that Polight is thinking about banging your little daughter? Because that's pretty much what he proved here, that he takes advantage of people for his sexual needs. That's what he did to this mother. She is sounded heartbroken listening to her. Again, I don't understand all of the reasoning as to why he is not considered a sex offender and what went into that. And I know that the mother said that she honored that request, I believe, to avoid continued a trial, basically continuing this charade. And I wouldn't even call it a charade. My words, I need to use the proper words. It's not a charade. The spectacle to continue on. Or is it that Polight, some may not want to say it. I'm going to say it. Did Polight plead down because he knew he could be sitting in prison for 60 years versus the 7 that he got today? That's another reason. The evidence is so overwhelming. It is so overwhelming. Before we get up out of here, guys, let me pay a few bills if you don't mind. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Hold on, my baby's coming up. My baby's here. Is that you?
Yes, it's me, sis. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can. How are you, Miss Nicole Reloaded?
Thank you for having my sister, and thank you for the awesome coverage. I was actually watching my grandbaby and testing for school when you popped up in my feed, and I had to stop to listen to what was going on with this. I knew that this piece of dog doo-doo was going to plead out. I'm in a way, I'm glad for that. This man has a lot of connections, throughout the United States. I actually interviewed one of alleged victims of what's his name? Gosh. Yes, York. Yes, thank you for helping me out. York's daughter-in-law. And she gave me a lot of information. And when I interviewed her, she actually was attacked several times. So I can only imagine, imagine and fathom what this mother and this baby has experienced the last 2 years. She probably just wanted it over with.
What did you think about her statement to the court, Nicole? That was heart-wrenching, wasn't it?
Shaken. Yeah. That's why it took me so long to get up here. I was like, I can't even gather my wits about myself. I have 4 daughters and a grandbaby and a grandson, and we as women need to stop letting our kids, man, go with these niggas.
Sorry, you went on mute, Nicole.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
What I was trying to say, LeakYou, is that us as women need to stop especially in the Black culture, allowing our children to go with men that are not
Oh, it.
biologically the fathers of our children, let alone when the fathers are abusers too, as well. So we need to be very, 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 very protective of our children's innocence. Once it's gone, there's nothing you can do to ever get that back.
Mm.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, no, I'm listening to you. I'm curious what your thoughts are on him not having to register as a sex offender.
You know what? I
It's really
am
weird to me.
baffled, girl. I am baffled, but she said she did that for him. You got to break that your audio down and transcribe it, sis. It sounded like she said that she did that for him in a way. Maybe that was a part of the plea.
Yeah, and you know,
Maybe there would
yeah.
have been no plea. Maybe there would have been no plea without that.
Well, she said if it
I,
meant that he went to prison too.
Yes, uh-huh. She could have, if she wanted to, she didn't have to accept the plea. Usually the state goes through, through the family and will say, no, want to fight. There was enough significant evidence, especially with the DNA on that baby and on his clothes and the area of his clothes and on her, that would have locked this man away for a long time. I'm very baffled about the 10-year thing, maybe because they have changed the law. If it's your first time offending, if you stay out of trouble or whatever, it's this new thing that they're passing. And I'm pretty sure a Bentley and some other things, financial something, not like the mother was bought off, but something had to be put into this for this man not to have to register to try to help with the pain that it has caused. I don't know. I don't know. I'm baffled. I would have said, no, let him walk today, but he gonna walk as a sex offender for life. That's what I would have wanted. But
That would have been
that's
the
not my
main thing.
but that's not my child. And I don't know what that mother is experiencing and what her pain is. They're talked about all the time on social media. Maybe this is the best deal that she could have got to get it to suppress as best as it could. And I guarantee you that baby is not the only one. There is videos of him with younger girls that I even have on my channel. Like, this dude is a pervert. And he will always be known as a freakazoid. I don't care how much you try to cover it up. His face, he can't be a motivational speaker. If the Black community allows this son of a bitch to be to speak the way he did before, may they all burn in hell, because it's going to be women like me and LeakYou that are content creators that's going to have our feet on your mother effing neck. We're not going to let you forget. And that's what us in the community need to do. We ain't going to let them forget. We'll let you know where that nigga live at. We'll let you know what you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sue us. How you going to, honey? Civil is wholly different. What you gonna say? You ain't do it because you did it.
Let's break down why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, let me depose you. All right. I was going to do the one thing. Oh no, never mind the lawsuit.
Well, with how the judge broke it down, no, sis, it was basically letting him know, be ready, because the civil law section ... about to get in that ass, bruh. You about to get sued. And it makes me wonder about these so-called wives. CPS need to be involved in this if they're not already. He just didn't harm her. There's other girls around this son of a bitch.
His fascination with York. What is with his fascination with Dr. York?
He groomed him. Dr. York groomed him. He was supposed to be in place of him.
So strange. It is so strange. But you know, I just this young lady who is the victim in all of this. I mean, obviously her, people are not trying to dox her or put her information out or anything like that. I hope that she finds peace with all of this, but I do have concerns that she could be potentially found out, especially now that this case has been settled.
Well, you know, the sickos, some of them already, you know, kind
Know
of
who she is.
leaked the mother and leaked the video of the girl. I just never put any of it out, and I blurred her.
I'm
And
so
a lot of
grateful.
other women in the community, we fought about making sure they suppress these videos and
Mm.
actually sent information up to the courts to protect her. You as a content creator have a responsibility. Y'all don't put it. Y'all get leak you stuff. Okay, don't be putting she protecting this little girl. Don't put that little girl out there. Y'all gonna get flagged for stuff like that. The
Yeah,
community will be happy with that. Protect her.
yeah.
Let her come out
Um,
and speak when she's ready.
that part. Because people are going to want more. Now that Polite is in prison, he in jail on his way to prison, he can't speak, he can't talk, you know, I don't know whose YouTube channel he's going to pop up on next, but people are going to want to explore this story even more. And I just have concerns that people are going to try to expose this young lady and, you know, her identity and things like that. I really do. People are so hungry for the next click and view and AKA fix. Hey, Gen X. Gosh, yeah, I think there are some questions though around the whole sex offender piece. Again, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to come down to people just are going to agree or not agree with the mother's stance on that at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, people have their definitely like, well, how could you do that? But that's not, you know, nobody's child. They don't understand. You don't know. The daughter could have requested for that. You don't know how that baby could have looked at that man. Um, Whatever he did, he was very good at words and, you know, manipulation. Maybe it was still some form of softness in her. You never know. God could have told her not to do that, and he will carry that type of judgment. We don't know what that woman, you know what I'm saying, is experiencing or whatever. And he's a narc. He's exhibit behavior of narcissism. What he did to that young lady, and I believe that he will violate again because I don't think he believed he did anything wrong. So I think for her, maybe him having to go to ex offenders classes for 10 years, she might think he might not make it through.
Hmm.
He's a narc. You think he's going to go in there and agree to what they tell him to do and take those medications and stuff? They make him take medicine. They don't do it, they violate.
And
You can't heal, you can't cure a sex offender. You know that, right?
and let's keep in mind this girl was 14 years old when this happened. 14. He's what, 38, 37, 38, 39, something like that. Damn near 40-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
14 years old. And I agree with you, Nicole. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen him around young girls too.
Mm-hmm. There's
Plenty of
videos
time.
that go way back. He liked women that had young girls. It's a whole. It's just so much. I'm sorry, I don't remember all the names or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
there. Sinetta knows. Those conscious community ninjas, they know. This ain't no secret. They were just in denial because that was their boy that got them money on debates. The debate that was out there against the Hebrew Israelites, where they were trying to convince the African American community that it was okay and somehow in coordinates with God's law and Bible to have relations with underage girls because they have ministrations. Y'all should have knew then that all them niggas is sick.
Wow.
I'm sorry, girl.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry at all. I mean, what about the wives, Nicole? You know, I don't know much about them in particular. I mean, I've seen them, you know, here and there or whatnot, but I just don't really like go down that rabbit hole with them. But they've been quite quiet throughout all of this.
Well, they've surely been dressing real fancy and BBLs and titties and oiled up bodies and stuff like that, and driving fancy cars and things of that nature.
Tell it. Wow. Tell it. But I have not heard anything from any of them. Right.
They weren't allowed to speak.
Right.
They were already instructed to shut a long time ago.
Wonder if they'll be there as he does his 7-year prison sentence.
Well, I hope that they run through all of his stolen property and ride their BBLs and their fake tits off into and go find the Lord Jesus Christ and go get counseling, because that is sick. It was something that wasn't right, just the way them women was dressed, and then knowing that it was kids around, and it was very, very, very sexualized. And I'm surely looking at Floyd Mayweather real strange, man. Because wasn't that your boy Floyd Mayweather? Didn't you invest to that nigga? We the people want to know. I want to know what Sinetta got to say about it. Y'all gonna let him just get away with it? Respect to the brother, but come on now, these niggas knew, and they knew the nigga was gonna plead too. Oh, I don't want to speak anything into existence because I ain't no lawyer. Shut up! You knew that nigga wasn't perfect.
Oh, we knew this plea was coming last month based off the last hearing. It was so obvious.
When he did that video, trying to mix it up, and he said, "I confess," I knew he was gonna plead then. He said it. He just manipulates and twists words. He said it. He was trying to convince the mother and the victim that he was sorry, but he wasn't sorry. He did a real serious play on words. He was sitting outside of his place. I got the video. I'll reshare. People can go watch it if they want to or whatever. But he confessed. He confessed because they came and attacked me, talking about he ain't do no plea deal. I said, I just asked the question. It's the question mark there. I just asked the question. But no, I could just feel it in my spirit. It was too much evidence.
Someone dropped Nicole.
I can't wait until the attorneys get on this. Like the lead attorney, that other beautiful black lady, she's been breaking down the Noah case for a long time. I can't wait to see Queen Throne get on. I'm ready to see all of this broken down. I want to see all of their opinions, especially the legal aspect from someone that is knowledgeable about court. But them civil suits. Yeah. Them civil suits is coming. I bet you some of them wives probably like, "Ooh, shit, girl." They probably packing up, driving off with them Bentleys, pulling off stuff to head to the pawn shop now, bitch. They probably like, "I said a freedom ring."
He's gone for 7 years. Life moves on.
The area of the prison that he's going to be in, Florida is not a place that you want to be violating the kids down there. I heard they real rough, tough, and dangerous.
Wait, where's the prison at?
In Florida, I believe is where unless they did a deal about moving him around to somewhere nice. But I hope she didn't agree to that, because Florida ain't no joke.
Do you see that comment? Do you know anything about this? 2 other of his wives' daughters.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Tell us about this a little bit. I'm curious.
Well, basically that there's history. There is history. I mean, Sinetta got mad at him. I'm just paraphrasing. He was supposed to do some type of, excuse me, had some agreement or something about some debate. Basically, it broke down the money, and what's his name got angry at him, and basically he blew him out the water and started saying that he messed around with one of his, wives or whatever, child before. And then there was some other girl. Then there was the story about his daughter that was missing.
Oh, I think Nicole dropped. It sort of does make me think about Polight's angle to get at children. It seems to be, if there's any truth to that, it would seem to me that that's an angle that he uses to procure his victims, period. Seeking You dropped off, Nicole.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
No, his people are listen to me, LeakYou. They got power and they got money and they can make things shake. That's why I stopped talking about it. I wasn't willing to get my head, and face rearranged. I did what I had followed it enough, I'm like, you know what I mean? Not like I didn't care, but I mean, it's only so much I can do. And when the young lady told me to stand down because she was in fear for me and my kids, and he was really out here. Yes, he was. She was like, stand down, because they harmed that girl. Yep.
Wow.
I hope she comes forward. Yep.
And just kind of going back to what I was saying, this is his angle. A lot of times predators have a specific angle that they use to procure their victims. And for all intents and purposes, he procured a victim through his relationship with the victim's mother. So that, I mean, any child that's ever been around him, I would be asking questions. I would have some valid concern. If I ever asked I would really have some valid concerns right now.
Well, a lot of the women in the community been asking why isn't CPS kicked in the door waving the fofo. I mean, they like to show up to beset the content creators. I mean, why they can't come give him a damn visit? I'm just.
Ain't that the damn truth?
I mean, I think somebody's need to be interviewed. I mean, they all over there oiled up and stuff. I mean, they can stop from getting tan and injections and all the other stuff that they getting.
See, I've been waiting for them to interview. I've been waiting, and I think now that he's been locked up, it'll come. It'll come. But I'm expecting. I mean, they're going to want to broaden their personal lives and try to build a career for themselves. I don't know, whatever, something for themselves. I mean, Polight is gone for 7 years.
And 7 years, some people might say that's not a long time, but 7, that's God's number. A whole bunch of shit can happen in 7 years.
Man.
That's for sure. Long enough for all his money to disappear.
Oh, that he can forget that. He can forget that. He's going to realize the saying of trust nobody, trust no bitch. He's going to realize that by the end of those 7 years, for sure. I really hope people won't use his 7 years in prison like some martyrdom of some type, like he's some kind of martyr or political prisoner. That sort of thing. That is not what this is at all.
Well, you already know that the ones that love him, they're gonna love him. You know what I'm saying? Whoever his following base is, they never stop following him just because he harmed that beautiful baby and that mother.
Right.
They ramped up and still was giving this ninja money, so he can drive around in Bentleys and wear big, funny, dumb hats.
Colorful hats at that.
Them hats used to make me mad. I'm like, man, this funny looking, bony faced, dirty, grimy ass ninja, he's a pig. Now the rabbit got the gun, nigga.
He reminds me of somebody, and I hate to even say this, but it's true. And I don't even know if you're familiar with this person. Have you ever seen a man on YouTube? Goes by the name like Folks. Folks is in his name. He was from Florida, and he used to do a lot of really creepy pimp type shit online. Did you ever see that guy?
Is he still on here?
I have not seen him on here in a long time, but him and Polight looked alike, and I've been thinking about that. I'm like, I hope that wasn't Polight that was doing that shit back then, but I don't think so. It's like the name was like on Folks and something, or the word Folks was in his name though.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I wish that they could get the evidence though together, Sister LeakYou. I mean, I don't know how to even go about investigating something like that. But to prove that he's not even an American citizen.
Ooh,
If that can come out, we can get this motherfucker up out of the United States because I don't
Hey,
even think that's his. I don't even believe that's man legal name, man.
listen, did you hear the judge emphasize that?
See, that's why we need to transcribe your video, sis.
Yeah, the judge emphasized the fact that after he completes his sentence, he could be what's the word? Sent away or, removed from the United States. Yeah, that
Good.
was something the
Okay.
judge emphasized. And so I
Yeah,
thought
because
about
I
that.
don't think. But then the thing is, peak game though, y'all. I don't think dude gonna get out like that because you got to think taxes. The IRS gonna be knocking on his hoes though. You know what I'm saying? You know all of that property, all of them people that he's stolen from. See, God might don't move when we think he's supposed to move. God move when He say so. And vengeance truly belongs to the Lord. And
Yeah.
God gonna make an example out of him because it's bigger than that. Women need to stop in just the African American culture. As soon as you get a greasy nigga that got on a decent outfit and his bitch can iron and y'all give him a microphone and he can speak all right, everybody want to run and follow these idiots that they looking for a savior when there's only one. And that's the Lord Jesus Christ that died on the cross and rose again on the third day. But that's just me. But it surely ain't no greasy faced nigga rolling around in the back with a Bentley talking about black power, but on the low, no offense, but he fucking white women. If it's black power and you talking about black this and black that, then why is you placating to the so-called, white women with the BBLs and all? That ain't supposed to be a part of what this black power bullshit that y'all be claiming y'all all with anyway. But y'all just buy all the books and throw all your money at them, but invest into them and just watch them get rich and richer and richer, creating monsters out here. The community needs to take responsibility too. In my opinion, who blew this nigga up like that?
Good point.
Am I wrong? If I'm wrong,
Mm-mm.
y'all can tell me. I'm sorry. I'm for real. How do these people get this kind of power? We got to stop following these fools and see them for what they are. This is past entertainment. This is real life. And there's more victims. I know it is. I just hope by the grace of God they come out and speak.
Oh, and that's yeah, it makes the civil piece of it. Maybe they will attach to that. Money seems to be the thing that brings people out a lot of the times. I don't know. Maybe someone
I
will
was
sue
just
him.
shocked. You wasn't shocked seeing him still drive around in all those fancy ass cars and
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we're talking about we're not talking about like $200-300 pair of jeans. His outfits, like nigga walking around with 30-40 grand on.
With tapestries on.
Girl,
Mhm.
sliding his shit all across the street. No, too sharp as a mother, slippity doodah ass nigga. Like, I'm just can't.
He looks like a bullfrog in the face to me, though. I'm just saying,
Mhm. The money
very
made him fine.
bullfrogish looking. Yeah,
The
very
money
much
made him fine. He's ugly. He looks like a piece of doo doo. He's
so.
not cute. You remove all that nice stuff on there, that man look like a straight crackhead.
Man, don't he though?
I mean, for
Don't
real. You remove all that fancy stuff, he look like a
he?
damn dope head.
Yep. No, he does though. I said the same thing when I seen his mug shot. Look at this guy. Mm-mm-mm. Well,
But
it'll be interesting. Speaking to his influence is kind of scary out here, isn't it?
oh yeah, it is.
The way
And
that stuff rubs
they're
off.
very serious and some of them are very powerful and affiliated with gangs on both end, the Bloods, excuse me, and the Crips. He has strong affiliations with people. Very strong affiliations. And they do cause they like to cause harm when you speak of him. Hmm.
Sorry, I was moving there. Trying to move around too much. So he's got some pretty fanatical supporters, it
Yeah,
sounds like.
Dr. York's people, they protect these, this type of thing, they protect it. Dude know how to get his hands on money. He knows how to move things around and get money in people's hands. And people don't want to go back broke and, EBT. They want to wear big funny hats and have greasy faces and bitches with BBLs like him.
Well, this can't be a good scandal for the York family to weather another, sexual predator scandal. I mean, my goodness. I would distance myself from Polight publicly as much as possible right about now. But that's just me.
The conscious community probably huddled up right now on a damn Zoom, lighting up blunts and cigarettes, trying to figure out how in the hell they can clean up this mess right now. How much y'all want to bet?
Conscious, huh? They're so conscious.
Mm-hmm.
What an interesting, it seems a little unconscious to me, but hey. Well, Nicole, thank you for coming up as always.
Well, thank you for having me, my dear, on an awesome exclusive. Don't y'all forget to give her credit for breaking this. I did Google. She was the first, and y'all let her know. I'm about to add Star and all of them. I'm ready to see what these people have to say.
We're going to see.
I love you, sister. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Love you, babe. God bless you, boo. Man, shout out to Nicole Reloaded. Make sure you get over there to her channel. Drop your link, Nicole. I don't know if one of the mods dropped it or not, but make sure, those of you who are dressed in blue, drop your links in the chat. Take advantage. Anyway, I'm looking forward to Queen's Throne. That's who I want to see. I want to see what she has to say about today. And so I'm absolutely looking forward to her going live. And just reading the comments here. One can only hope that justice is served after today. I think the only kind of question that some people have is, why will Polight not be a registered sex offender? And so, some may have criticism about that, questions about that. I think that's only natural. Guys, I appreciate everybody that came through to the live stream. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm about to get up out of here. Much love. Make sure you guys subscribe to Nicole Reloaded on YouTube. And I think that's it for me, guys. I got to run. I will catch y'all when I catch y'all. Until next time, everyone. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Shout out to the Leak.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.